This is County Executive Warren Evans, and this is Inside Wayne County.
Hello and welcome to Inside Wayne County. I'm your host, Lloyd Jackson, and this show is designed to give you important information and also keep you informed about what's going on inside Wayne County government. Today, I'll take you inside the office of the Wayne County Register of Deeds, where documents related to land transactions are recorded. Different types of deeds, as well as land contracts, mortgages, liens, and lease agreements are all recorded in this office. And who better to tell you more about the office than the man himself, Wayne County Register of Deeds, Bernard Youngblood. And Bernard, it's nice to have you here on Inside Wayne County.
Good to see you, Lloyd. Always a pleasure.
I'd like to start off introducing the guests to the citizens of Wayne County, the residents of Wayne County. And so let's find out a little bit more about Bernard Youngblood and talk about where you grew up, where you went to school, and how you made it to the Register of Deeds.
Great. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Born and raised right here in Detroit, Wayne County, school at St. Ambrose over on the east side, through that, and then Wayne State University through there, and haven't gone too far. Lived always for the last umpteen years, a little more than that, right here in Wayne County. And now it's a pleasure to be elected into the office of Register of Deeds, where we've got some family history.
Wow.
Some cousins have served in the office prior to me. I had Bernard J. Youngblood, who served for over 30 years.
Okay.
Then his son, Forrest Youngblood, served for another 30 years. And now I've been fortunate to serve the citizens for 15 years.
And you've had some background in real estate before you came to the office, which I'm sure was a great help to you in this office.
Absolutely right. I was fortunate to have over 30 years of real estate service, practice in Wayne County for the most part, and a real estate appraiser's license. So I had pretty good background with which to serve the people with, and it's really been very, very good for us.
Talk about some history. Give me some history of the Register of Deeds office, Bernard Youngblood.
Well, it's kind of like the virtual file cabinet for all the documents that are land related for the 900,000 parcels of land in Wayne County.
Wow.
So anytime there's a real estate transaction, most people want that document recorded so that they can find it if somehow it's ever lost in a burned out dwelling. Always you can depend upon the Register of Deeds office to bring out a certified copy of that document, which can be purchased. You record your land contracts, your mortgages. Bank wants to have the mortgage required for recording. Any type of, sometimes we even get divorce decrees, not necessarily needed to, but some people will bring them in and file them. So any land-related documents filed right in our office, going back to the early 1700s.
Wow.
We have them in archives.
Now, I know back then, and probably up until not too long ago, it was a big book, wasn't it, that you just recorded?
It was tremendous.
Like a big book.
And we have those back at the office, which is over in Greektown. It's 400 Monroe, and on the 7th floor. And we do have some of those old books right there, and they're beautiful penmanship. I can just picture the people there with the rolled up sleeves and the quill. There you go. So yeah, they are just gorgeous to see. In fact, we have a replica of the original deed of Grosse Ile when that was signed over. And on that particular deed, it's fun, you should bring it up, we have kind of like the hieroglyphics of the individual who sold it, upside down cow, inverted fish. Beautiful specimen.
Wow, so that's like a couple of 100 years.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, it was, I think, in 1986 or so when we kind of went to the computers and people can come in and kind of search it fast that way. We got away from the big book.
Correct, correct. Everything is recorded now with computer system, and we have a company by the name of Tyler Technologies that is responsible for our software, and they're just a marvelous group to work with. And our documents are recorded, and the history goes back to about 1986, as you say, where all these documents are online. Then we have to go off-site to a storage facility to bring the microfilm in from the earlier documents. Those documents people can really grasp at their own home using their computer at our website, www.waynecountylandrecords.com.
So you don't necessarily have to come into the office?
You don't at all. You can purchase the document right at the comfort of your home over your computer, and we do accept credit cards. And everything available to you in the office is also available to you online at your own convenience.
There's some remodeling that went on in your office as well to kind of accommodate some new things that you're doing. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. We started what's called instant recording. We would accept documents through the mail or through courier, Federal Express, however. And then we started what's called instant recording, where you can actually come up to the office and record a document and receive it back instantly. That has gone into about 5 years now. It was just an overwhelmingly accepted by our citizenry. And so what we did was didn't have enough stations to accommodate that need. So we cross-trained our search people to become recording and search people. And now we have 10 stations opened because the demand was there to serve you quickly. If you want to record a document or search, you can do so at any one station. So everybody is cross-trained, and the goal is to get you in and out very quickly with courteous service.
Now, does the Register of Deeds, do they prepare documents?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
A document for a real estate transaction is a very critical legal document. I strongly advise that you have an attorney to help you fill that out. It's very, very important to have an attorney's counsel when you're talking about the transference of real estate.
Now, I'm sure that you get a lot of customers who come in who ask for legal advice as well.
Absolutely, we do. And unfortunately, our staff is not trained. We don't have trained attorneys on staff to give that type of advice, but it's paramount that individuals creating a real estate document do have the counsel of an attorney. We have signs posted around that we can't give legal advice. So unfortunate, but so be it. We have the responsibility to make sure certain statutory requirements are contained within the document, such as what's called a grantor, grantee, that it's dated, that there's a proper notary, and a legal description, but we don't ascertain and go through the document to make sure it is a legal document. That's up to you and the courts to decide if there is a conflict.
Talk about recording a document. How does that happen? What does take us through if a person comes into the office and they need to record a document? What's the process?
Well, the individual will come up to one of our stations at the office, one of the 10, and they'll slide the document under the glass, and our individuals will take a look to make sure those statutory requirements are contained within the document, and then we electronically scan it so that it is now in the system. We put some labels on there, some identifying labels, and then we'll hand it right back to the individual. So they take the recorded document back home with them or to the office. And once it's processed, it electronically goes through the office where we have indexers who will index the various fields so that that document can then be drawn up anywhere around the world during the World Wide Web. So you can pick it up at your office. And it takes about 5 minutes to actually record a document.
Is there a time where you see a document or someone brings in the document and it can't be recorded for some particular reason?
Well, unfortunately, we do have to reject documents because they weren't prepared by an attorney or they didn't have the sufficient requirements for recording. Maybe the paper size is too small. Maybe there isn't enough margins in the paper that we have to apply different labels to. Those spaces are not there. We have the different guidelines in our office and online for anybody who needs to have some bit of non-legal guidelines for recording of a document. And if I can, let me tell you about something else that is very dear to our hearts. And we started here in Wayne County back in 2005. Again, with my real estate background, I noticed a number of people were coming in having a forlorn face as I would see them in the hallway, and I was realizing time and time again after a discussion that their home was stolen. So it introduced a new crime wave that was happening.
And let me say, people, when you say your house was stolen, it's not like somebody picked up your house and took it down the street or moved it, stolen by way of the deed or?
Correct. They're falsifying a name. They're forging your name on a deed, stealing the house that you owned, and taking it into their name. So I recognize this problem, and I had not heard about it before, but it happened time and time again. So at the time, I called the sheriff up, who was Warren Evans. And then I called Kim Worthy up, who was a prosecutor, asked him to come over to my office so we could discuss this. And we recognized this new crime wave. There was no other law enforcement unit out there trying to police this. So with funds from my office, Warren gave me a couple of his sheriff deputies. Kim gave a couple of prosecutors and investigators. So in my building, we started the first in the country mortgage and deed fraud task force with 3 elected officials working together in a war room. Now,
it's nationally renowned too.
It is. We've got, we've had awards from all over the country on that, and we've trained other units to come in and take some of our knowledge back. Unfortunately, we have had, I'd say, about 2,500 cases in the last 10 years now, and we've returned, which is a good thing, about 225 homes, and we've put 180 people in prison. Unfortunately, it's a terrible thing to have your dining room table stolen right out from the kids. But we're working on it, and we're making headway on it. So we're trying to push that kind of activity out of Wayne County.
And when you think about it, a lot of people probably think that this happens more so to the elderly than it does to, let's say, a younger person. That's not necessarily true, though, is it?
No, it isn't, although they are definitely victims. Perpetrators will go anywhere. We've had people, unfortunately, buy homes in Detroit and other areas over the Craigslist. And then
They're
they
selling
call
homes
us.
on Craigslist now, Bernie Youngblood?
Unfortunately, that's correct. It's not proper, but some people have bought good deals, they think, on Craigslist or over eBay. We have broken up scams over the United Kingdom. People were misrepresenting homes. Other people would buy such a good deal, and when they don't get their deed in the mail from these unsavory characters, they call our office, and of course, we put them in touch with the fraud hotline. The fraud hotline phone number is 313-224-5869. That's where it all starts.
And also, you know, we were talking before the show, and we were talking about how foreclosures, you hear that so much in the news now. You hear a lot about foreclosures. The deed fraud you don't hear as much of, not to say it's not going on, but you just don't hear it as much. But even with the foreclosures, deed fraud can get mixed in with that as well.
You're right, Lloyd. Unfortunately, some individuals will pick up a house that they know the treasurer is foreclosing on. They'll sell that home to an unsuspecting buyer, and a few months later, maybe a couple weeks later, that house goes up to an auction, and the buyer of that home loses his investment. That's why it's so critical for people, if they're not familiar with real estate transactions, to get a good real estate lawyer, get a title company to research the property for you, make sure it's a solid transaction.
There are a lot of homes in neighborhoods that people see that are vacant, and they want to, you know, get rid of them or either buy them and fix them up. But you have to be careful, though.
Absolutely.
When you do that.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, again, this type of activity is not just going on in Detroit. We've had action cases in the Grosse Pointes all the way out to Belleville. It's all over the community, and it's in most areas. Most people don't have a wonderful team that we have to kind of police it.
How much education needs to be done, Bernie Youngblood, to, you know, on residents to get them to understand how serious this is and how to keep from getting caught up in something like this?
Well, if they have a concern about their real estate, they need to get a good real estate lawyer before they buy any real estate. Everybody works hard for their investment, for their dollar, and they need to protect it. So education is always, always helpful.
And I think also that you said you lock people up. People have been locked up for this.
Right.
And I think a lot of people feel that, well, it's deed fraud, it's a document, you know, maybe you'll get a little smack on the hand, but people are actually doing some hard time. you get some hard time for this.
We do. I think we've responsible for about 180 individuals in prison today. We've had some very, very difficult, terrible cases.
Talk about some of the other services that you do in the Register of Deeds office.
Well, again, we can research, and that's our primary, is researching documents. When you come in to find a home that was owned by your grandfather, we can go back into the archives and find that particular house for you. We will give a certified document for you to make sure that that property is certified that this is the true legitimate document that's recorded in the Register of Deeds office. It's not a fraudulent document. We'll put a little certification on there. But all of our transactions are land related. Everything we do is based upon land transactions of the 900,000 parcels.
Has there ever been a time where you couldn't find a deed to a property?
Well, I can't recall.
Okay.
I'm sure that some point in some time there must have been a mistake. But a lot of properties over the years have been combined into a different address.
Okay.
So if you're looking for 1221 Drexel, and that's an income property, maybe a duplex, and the actual address that has the deed filed it is 1222. You just were not aware of the proper address. So things like that we can help out, and we research it to get you the documents you need in 99.9% of the cases.
Because I'm thinking if there's a house across the street from me and I want to buy it and I'm trying to locate the deed and there's no deed because maybe some fraud had gone down on it, how do I get that?
Well, you can come to the office. We'll research that address that you are familiar with. One thing in Michigan, there is no law that says when you have a transaction, you have to record the deed. So we can give you the current record owner.
Okay.
Of the last one filed. It might not be the individual who actually has title to the property today if it was sold to somebody and not recorded.
So at least
Again,
you have a starting point.
you have a starting point. You can call that individual.
I need that fraud number one more time for the residents out there.
That's a great number. It's 313-224-5869. And soon you'll see that fraud car that our investigators use driving around the county with the big Wayne County Fraud Team logo on there.
And then if there's any other information people need, they can call your office or go online?
They can call the office. They can go online at WayneCountyLandRecords.com.
Bernie Youngblood, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so
Always
much for
a
being
treat,
here.
Lloyd. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for upcoming shows as I take you inside Wayne County departments and introduce you to the people in charge and the many services they provide. It's all with the goal of keeping you up to date on everything going on inside Wayne County. I'm Lloyd Jackson. See you next time.